On the program today, we shall be looking at a broad range of issues, beginning with the recent visit of the President of Guinea-Bissau to Nigeria. What is the significance of that visit to Nigeria? Would that bring succor to issues around the Gulf of Guinea, and Guinea-Bissau being a reoccurring decimal at ECOWAS Summit? What makes of it? Also on the program today, we shall be looking at follow-up to the recent extraordinary meeting between Nigeria's president and the Secretary of State of the United States. A couple of things came up, and one of it has been the need to sustain the shared vision of Nigeria and the United States toward a guide to strategic partnership of the two countries. Also, the return of United States to WHO and the signing of the Paris Agreement on climate change, as well as global security issues, particularly Nigeria, the Sahel, and Lake Chad. Those are the core things we're looking at today on the program. My guest on the program is an expert on diplomacy and international relations, Dr. Mukhtar Imam. He's of the Base University in Nigeria and also a consultant from many fronts. Good to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. Shortly after now, we'll be taking the visit of the President of Guinea-Bissau to Nigeria. Then we'll sustain the discussions after this time out. Stay with us.
This is the 7th time President Umaru Sissoco Embalo is coming to Nigeria since coming to power in January last year. President Muhammadu Buhari described the relationship between the two countries as well as their leaders as robust and stable. He commended President Umaru Embalo, whom he described as a brother, true friend of Nigeria, and a visionary leader for his efforts at meeting the aspirations of his people. Nigeria played a significant role in stabilizing the political and security situation in Guinea-Bissau, which faced a serious threat of disintegration after disputed elections. For President Umaru Embalo, the government of Guinea-Bissau cannot thank Nigeria enough, saying the trajectory of bilateral relations points to a brighter future for the two countries and the entire West African sub-region.
All this support Nigeria and of course Baba for Guinea-Bissau to stabilize is why today I'm coming here to say Baba, thank you very much for supporting Guinea-Bissau. Today a lot of people that forget about Guinea-Bissau because we don't have bad reputation all the time in Guinea-Bissau and the news. Thank you again, Baba. Thank you very much.
Guinea-Bissau, which had been on the agenda of ECOWAS summits in the last 20 years, is now on the path to a prosperous future. And as President Embalo says, this is the best moment to visit and say thank you to the Nigerian leader. From the State House, Adamu Sambu.
Now, let's go straight to the point, Doctor. The president of Guinea-Bissau has been to Nigeria and left, and a couple of things played out. And let's begin. Significantly, what do you make of that visit?
Thank you very much. This visit comes highly anticipated at a time when the discussions around the Gulf of Guinea has taken center stage in not just the regional discussions, but on the templates of the African Union and beyond just the African Union within the international community. You would recall that from 2010 up till today, there have been series and sequences of agreements that have been signed in respect to maritime security on the Gulf of Guinea. It is a strait that has become very known for its notoriousness, so to speak, as a result of the activities of pirates and piracy going on along the straits, as a result of the insurgency and militancy and attacks on ships and vessels that convey goods and all whatnot along that route. So this visit is very key. It's important that these leaders consistently meet to draw up areas of collaboration, to look at how they can address these challenges that bedevil our collective peoples. And so it is a welcome development. I do hope that after these conversations and discussions back and forth, that we will see actionable plans and tangible results from the conversation of both presidents.
Beautiful. actionable plans and tangible results. One will be asking from a layman's perspective, why would he come to Nigeria? Why didn't he wait for an ECOWAS summit before coming up with this kind of visit?
Well, that's a very interesting question. Reality is there are certain challenges hitting up Guinea-Bissau currently within the domestic environment as well. President Muhammad Buhari, within the international community, regardless of whatever domestic challenges he's grappling with in Nigeria, is seen as a figure with certain level of charisma, so to speak, for lack of a better word, an appeal. And I think the president is trying to cash in on the fact that President Muhammad Buhari within the international community is playing a significant role. And his visit to him would sort of perhaps reinforce some level of trust within the domestic policy. So what I think the president is trying to do is to achieve two things. First and foremost is to try to assuage the tension within the domestic environment and prove to the people of Guinea-Bissau that he's an individual who has acceptance within the international community, starting from the region here. And then speaking of President Muhammadu Buhari's persona within the international community, especially on the African continent, he's seen with respect. He's seen as a leader, like I said, with a great deal of appeal, and so on and so forth. And so I think he's trying to achieve that on that front. And then secondly, at the international level, to be able to look for ways of attracting partnership. Anybody who's talking about Africa must take Nigeria seriously. 1 out of every 4 Africans is a Nigerian. Significant in population. Nigeria has the potential, has resources. So I think he's pitching his tent with that of the president of Nigeria is not unexpected as far as diplomacy is concerned. And I think so far this is what he's trying to achieve, and he perhaps might have been able to do that, because when you get to the broader platform, at the regional level, at the continental level, then it becomes a lot easier for him as an individual to haven't played his card, before prior to that general conversation, to be able to attract these individuals who are seen within the international community as figures that are respected.
Okay.
So it's all diplomacy, it's all negotiations. And
from your perspective as an expert in diplomacy and international relations, a couple of persons who may not understand what you know or what some of us know will be asking, why now, when we have our own security challenges, why not we finish up from what we are before we look at other places?
The reality is security is intertwined, whether you like it or not. It is like the adage, the African adage, thank God it is even an African adage, that says that when your neighbor's roof is on fire, you protect your own. And by protecting your own, it is not by jumping on your own roof and trying to shield it. It is by trying to help your neighbor quench his fire. Because that's how you find a way of addressing your own problems. So, like we've talked about consistently on this platform, of the 3 reasons that have helped to avert the Third World War, the most important and essential of all of them is the growing interdependence among nation states. No country can live in isolation. No country can brag of being self-sufficient. And so what the man is trying to do, there isn't an ideal time for addressing security challenges. There isn't. And so he's choosing now or later or before, I think, is immaterial at the moment. What is important, what is pertinent at this point is that he has made the move, and he has been able to identify countries that have significant prowess. As far as Africa is concerned, Nigeria plays a significant role. We can debate on other issues, but not on this one, within the African continent. And the strength of our armed forces, for example, even within the domestic environment, is something to reckon with, even though I think the media is really shortchanging them and not portraying, and by the media I'm talking about both the traditional media and the social media, we're not doing well enough to portray the image of our armed forces. And so our armed forces, I think, are doing well, and he's coming here now to try to woo the president of Nigeria to do more on the streets of the Gulf of Guinea, which is very important economically to Nigeria as well, is, I think, of importance, and is something that should be applauded and not be looked at necessarily from an angle of personal benefits, even though all of this is shrouded with some level of personal benefits, because, of course, like I said, he's trying to assuage some tension within his domestic environment. But there is no domestic policy that is detached from foreign policy. Domestic policies and foreign policies are interrelated, and there is no removing them.
Okay, Dr. Mukhtar, thank you so much on this. On the second level, we shall be going to other perspectives, and that would be on the heels of recent interface between Nigeria and the United States of America. That was because a couple of things trumped up, but before then, let's take a listen to this report before we go into that eve. A lot of things trumped up, and before then, let's take a listen to this report put together by Adamu Sado.
Your Excellency, Mr. President, our relations have been strong for 60 years, and I'm honored to have the opportunity to work with you and your team on building on that foundation and charting a shared vision to guide our strategic partnership for the coming years.
Initiated by the United States, the virtual engagement between President Muhammadu Buhari and the U.S. Secretary of State is aimed at promoting existing bilateral ties between the two countries.
I also hope to discuss how we can build our economies back even better and stronger after the pandemic, growing them and making them more equitable. Investing in protecting the most vulnerable communities in our countries, I think, contributes to our goal of building a lasting security for Americans and for Nigerians.
President Muhammadu Buhari said the security challenges in Nigeria, compounded by the negative pressures in the Sahel, Central and West Africa, as well as the Lake Chad region, remain of great concern to his administration.
The support of important and strategic partners like the United States cannot be overstated, as the consequences of insecurity will affect all nations. Hence, the imperative for cooperation and collaboration of all nations to overcome these challenges.
Nigeria and her security forces, he explained, are resolutely committed to containing the security concerns as well as addressing their root causes, saying, however, that enhanced collaboration in all forms with friends and strategic partners is needed towards achieving greater security for all. He used the opportunity to congratulate the United States for rejoining the World Health Organization and the Paris Agreement on climate change.
This action is a demonstration of the United States' commitment in championing and supporting international organizations with the aim to build a better world for all. In this regard, Nigeria remains resolute in her commitment to supporting global efforts as enshrined on the Paris Agreement on climate change, which seeks to limit global warming and reduce greenhouse gas emissions.
President Buhari used the forum to express appreciation to President Joe Biden for his welcoming and far-reaching decision to repeal the immigration restriction known as the Muslim ban on travel and visas for citizens predominantly from Muslim nations and African countries. Nigeria, he said, attaches great importance to the relations with the United States. From the State House, Adamu Sambu.
Listening to that report, a couple of things came up. The issues of shared vision to guide the strategic partnership between Nigeria and the United States of America, economic partnership, and security, as well as insecurity that affects other countries of the world. Dr. Mukhtar, let's do a throwback from the perspective of shared vision between the two countries. How would this guide strategic partnership of the two countries?
Well, vision is a very strong word, you know. I think both countries can achieve a lot. Collectively, the relations between Nigeria and the United States dates back to even before independence, if you like, you know, and was solidified after independence. And from that period up to the period where oil was discovered, and up to the period where We began to, trade with the United States on a large scale. The relationship has grown from strength to strength. I think the vision of the both country is to part of the vision of the both country, especially when you listen to the discussion between President Muhammadu Buhari and Donald Trump. And by the way, governance is a continuum. So these issues are central, they're key, they're going to be there, especially as it relates to the foreign policy of the United States. A lot of things can change, administrations can change, but the foreign policies remain almost the same. Key among the conversations around visions that should be shared relates to economic growth and partnership by both countries, and top of the agenda is the issue of security. Security is at the core, is at the center of the conversation of the United States foreign policy in relation to virtually all countries within the Middle East and Africa. And so that vision, I think, stands and is something that can be worked on, and a framework can be built that will strengthen or further strengthen the information sharing between the both countries, the conventional and non-conventional methodologies of dealing with conflict situations by resolving conflicts. I think the both countries can go a long way in this respect by conventional and non-conventional methods. I'm talking about both the hard power and soft power methods of addressing conflict situations. And this is one area that both countries have, over the years, tried to practically collaborate to bring an end to insurgency and militancy and matters of insecurity, whether in Nigeria or the broader Lake Chad region, or even within the Sahel, or the sub-region of West Africa. So I think a lot can be done to strengthen this relationship more, to achieve and attain this vision. Again, going back to the conventional and non-conventional methodologies that should be applied, I think that's where focus should be on. The conventional methodologies, we're talking about the military capabilities. By the way, it is not the only way to resolve conflicts or to manage or resolve conflict situations. But within that, areas that should be focused on, or that we expect more attention to be given to, will be area of building a proper intelligence gathering mechanism to be able to address issues of equipment, because we need to equip our armed forces, especially in the 21st century where security threats are changing. We're no longer having conventional warfare, we're seeing asymmetric warfare and hybrid warfare taking shape all over the world, and that also includes in Nigeria as well. So a lot needs to be done in equipping our armed forces. There's a need for training and retraining of our personnel. There's no gainsaying in the fact or shying away from the reality that the United States is about the most dominant world military powers today. And so having a partnership or a relationship with the United States on a shared vision of attaining zero tolerance for insecurity is something that I think is a welcome development. And the United States needs to do a lot more in opening up, because we don't see a lot of opening up. Recall when Colin Powell was asked about sharing military technology, what he said. He said, man by nature is an armorer being, and science and technology and military hardware is the most precious resources of the United States. And you do not expect the same armorer being to share with you his most precious natural resources. So I think this sort of rhetorics need to be played down. We need to begin to see a lot more opening up in terms of granting us access to certain hardwares to be able to deal with and address the matters of insecurity. It's a very technical one. We're seeing Boko Haram taking an international dimension today. And then, of course, on the case of the non-conventional methodology, there's a need to look at the sociological roots of this conflict. There's a need to begin to look at those drivers that basically radicalize our young people to want to be involved in this sort of movement, in the first place. We need to look at the economic issue as well. So a lot needs to be done, or a lot should be done in terms of collaboration to be able to achieve this vision.
Now, Doctor, just before we wrap up, let's just go to this area. I know very well that it's no news anymore that United States rejoined the WHO, and China and United States back to endorse the Paris Agreement on climate change. Remember vividly during the reigns of Ban Ki-moon, he was very emphatic that the big emitters should assist and galvanize resources to assist the developing countries in their national commitments to climate change. But now it has happened this way, and Mr. President emphasized on this and commended this move. What are your analytics in this direction?
Well, I think for starters, it's a good thing that the United States is back to both the WHO and the discussion on the Paris Agreement. It's a good thing, given that the posture of the United States within the international system, like I said, is non-debatable, that the US plays a very central role. And so saying that the US takes the lead in this regard is a very welcome development again. But there needs to be an honest and sincere discussion around these issues. If you recall the last time Joe Biden had the meeting with these world leaders and the discussion around how to reduce emission, because these countries, the United States and China, by the way, are the largest emitters in the whole world. And so what we should begin to see are not just rhetorics like we heard from the Chinese president and even his United States counterpart. You know, we constantly hear about what plans, how they hope to achieve this in the next 30 years and so on and so forth. I think beyond that, beyond all of these rhetorics, we need to begin to see them making moves. Say, for example, China is building its coal infrastructure. At the same time talking about reducing emission. I don't see how that is not counterproductive. You know, so if you're being honest about achieving certain things, I think we need to begin to see a lot more action being carried out rather than just mere words. The United States also needs to do a lot more. Yes, the Joe Biden's plan of achieving that seems to be realistic to a certain extent, but how very well will that sit with the domestic environment? Of course, we know there's a whole lot of divide going on within the United States polity. How does the United States president hope to convince the people to shift to green energy within the next few years? This is something we know that governments have tried to do in the past, and because of the state laws in the United States, it has proven quite difficult for central governments to achieve these things. So I think these presidents need to do a lot more, and beyond that, they need to begin to, ship resources to countries, less developed countries that are grappling with the challenge of climate change, especially countries where the direct impact is seen, the immediate impact is seen. Say, for example, the case of Bangladesh. Say, for example, the case of Pakistan. You know, and of course, what is happening here in the Lake Chad Basin, we see the basin drying up, shrinking day by day. We see a lot of these things taking shape, which are of negative consequences to countries that should benefit immensely from these resources. And so a lot more needs to be done. The case of Brazil and the Amazon is another case in focus, which we will not delve into right now. But these leaders need to take up actionable plans. Enough with the talk and the fancy speeches and so on and so forth. And with the WHO, I think it's a good thing that the US is back there. Leaving the WHO wouldn't have attained any or achieved any meaningful results. Regardless of the conspiracy about the WHO in the case of involvement with China, it will not achieve any meaningful results. I think what will give derivable, what will give meaningful results, what will hold the WHO accountable will be for the United States to remain there and continue to inquire and investigate the activities of the WHO and strengthen that World Health Institution that has basically achieved a lot before the advent of COVID.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mukhtar, Imam. It was nice having your thoughts on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, and we thought we'll go into many other areas. Dr. Mukhtar, Imam has tried to share his thoughts with us regarding all the issues bordering on global challenges and other matters. We thought we could go into WTO and the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. That's for another day. That's it on the program. We believe while it lasted, you had it insightful. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.